Two of my favourite things in this world are video games and music, and in this new series I will be highlighting some of my all-time favourite video game soundtracks. Each video will focus on 3 separate games, so without any further ado, let's kick things off with When I first played the original Portal as part of the Orange Box on Xbox 360, I knew nothing about it and went in completely blind. I was blown away when I'd spent the majority of the game thinking that I was playing the tutorial, and before I knew it I was totally engrossed and making my way towards the end of the game. I played it through in one sitting and it was one of the best gaming days I've ever experienced. Portal 2 took everything up a notch with more levels, more baffling physics puzzles, more story and more comedy. The soundtrack was released free of charge as a digital download, and I played out those tracks to death. I was so inspired by the music of Portal 2 that I wrote the song For Science as my own personal love letter to both the game and the soundtrack. The bleeps and bloops of the soundtrack give you the feeling of complete isolation as you are trapped in this cold, mechanical maze. Elements and musical phrases almost seem to pass by you, as if objects in the environment are the instruments and you are just experiencing them in passing. When playing the game, it's easy to miss out on some of the nuances of the soundtrack because you are so focused on solving the puzzles, so I'd certainly recommend trying to listen to this one on its own. Hotline Miami is a game that everyone should play. It's on every main system now, and it's been in so many Steam sales for just a couple of quid that there is little reason why anyone shouldn't already own it. Having seen Hotline Miami on various gaming websites around the time of the initial release, I expected it to just be another twin-stick shooter that wouldn't interest me, as they aren't generally my kind of thing, so it just passed me by. It wasn't until I saw Sips from the Yogscast play it on YouTube that I realised it was actually more of a puzzle game and I needed it in my life. For the uninitiated, Hotline Miami is an infuriatingly hard score attack stealth game that begs you to replay it over and over. You need to plan ahead and decide which enemies to take out in which order, and which weapon will get the job done best. You die in a single hit, you instantly restart with no load screens and are thrown straight back into the action. Unlike a lot of games where the music will restart when you restart the level, instead the music continues uninterrupted, so even when dying repeatedly, you still feel like you're making some sort of progress. This also means that you get to hear each track in its entirety, instead of just the beginning 30 seconds to a minute. The game is brutally violent and highly stylised, and that style carries over to the music beautifully. The music is a veritable smorgasbord of amazing electronic tracks, most of which wouldn't sound out of place at a rave or a live show. The music for the main levels are pumping electro tracks with a constant pace and strong drive to them, while the tracks that overlay the story sequences vary from being minimal lo-fi trip-hop to more experimental sounds and atmospheric drones. Despite the tracks being pre-written and from different artists, they flow extremely well with each other and match the game so perfectly you could easily be forgiven for thinking that this was a custom written soundtrack. words do not exist in the English language to suitably explain how much Journey touched me. I downloaded it on day one, turned the lights off and the speakers up, and played through it in a single uninterrupted sitting. I was moved nearly to tears by the end. The story is told without words. You are alone in what appears to be an epic desert, and your only goal is to move toward the light to reach a distant tower. At the end of each stage, you are shown cave painting style drawings which slowly reveals clues about the world, but it's left up to the player to interpret exactly what they mean. The music in Journey is about heightening the emotions of the game, and the orchestral score by Austin Wintory accomplishes this perfectly. Each piece is expertly crafted to make you feel lonely or cold or joyous. The cellos are dark and mysterious and drive home the bleakness of some of the situations you find yourself in, but then when the music picks up, it makes you sit up straight and pay attention. The near symbiotic marrying of the visuals, gameplay and music is something rarely seen in gaming, but it also completely holds up as a standalone album. The album itself is a journey, akin to a prog rock album that knows exactly when to build tension, when to drop to quiet contemplation, and when to swell to a climactic burst of emotion. When listening to the soundtrack with my headphones on, walking through the woods or something, I'm instantly transported back to that beautiful and magical world that game company created. Journey is probably my favourite ever game, with one of my favourite ever soundtracks, which will stay with me for a long time. So there you go, those are 3 amazing soundtracks for you to check out. Links to the full soundtracks will be in the description below. Be sure to subscribe so you can be notified when our next videos are uploaded, including the next in this series, where I'll be highlighting 3 more fantastic soundtracks. And also check out midlifegamer.net for more video game reviews, articles and nonsense ramblings like this. Until next time, take care.